Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we have a head-to-head comparison review with the 2023 Cadillac Escalade Premium Luxury 4-wheel drive and the 2023 Ford Expedition Platinum 4-wheel drive. We have about a $10,000 difference between both of these trim levels here, but they are pretty much the fully loaded models for each of the brands. Also be sure to check out each full detailed review. I went over all the specs in greater details for each of these SUVs in those separate videos. Today, let's take a look at the what powers these, the exteriors, interiors, get both of these luxury 3-row SUVs out on the road and see what they're like head to head. So let's start off today's comparison with what powers each of these SUVs. Underneath the Escalade hood, this has a 6.2 liter naturally aspirated V8. It's paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission, pumps out 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque. Over on the Expedition, this has a 3.5 liter EcoBoost V6. EcoBoost is Ford's way of saying twin turbo, so the twin turbo V6. Also paired to a 10-speed automatic, pumps out 380 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque. So slightly more torque, but a lot less horsepower than over on the Escalade. And as far as the curb weights go, for the Escalade, you're looking right around 5,800 pounds, closer to 5,600 for the Expedition. We have a 0 to 60 time that's relatively similar, 5.8 and 5.7. So we have a smaller engine that is just as quick, but we also have a little bit lighter of an SUV. As far as fuel economy goes, you're looking at 14 miles per gallon in the city, 19 out on the highway for the Escalade, and 16 and 21. So with those numbers out of the way, let's work our way to the exterior styling, where right off the bat you can tell there's a huge difference. Cadillac grille is massive in comparison to the Expedition, but I think they both have a really good design to them for what they have. Over on the Escalade, the LED headlight housings have part of the grille that go underneath it, vertical DRL and turn signal strip. It just has a massive presence to it. Whereas over on the Expedition, it's a little bit more laid back, but we do have that same integration with the grille going into the headlight housings. A lot more though than over on the Escalade. A little bit lower it looks like for the Expedition as far as ground clearance goes. But there's 2 tow hooks up front, so the Expedition is a little bit more utilitarian compared to the Cadillac. Cadillac is a little bit more luxurious, even though they both have the 4-wheel drive system. You have the Expedition a little bit more for taking it off the pavement compared to the Escalade. Now there's also fog lights on the Expedition, and there are no fog lights on this Escalade. But let's work our way now to the side profile. They both have a set of 22-inch wheels, being pretty much the top trim levels. That's what you would expect to see. Each have a good design to them, really no different. They're very similar, of course. Both have power folding side mirrors with the camera system, turn signal, and a spotlight. So pretty much no different. However, you have a 2-tone design versus all body colored. A really big distinctive difference is the fact that on the more expensive Escalade, you have fixed running boards. Over on the Expedition, they are hidden out of the way until you need them. I would personally rather have that design over seeing them fixed. I would think that the Escalade would have a similar design. There's even some body colored trim to make them hide a little bit nicer. So interesting to see. But for the side designs, they have a very similar shape. Very similar in their overall wheelbase and length too. So even the window in the back is virtually identical. Now as we work our way to the rear, let's start off with the Expedition, where this has a power liftgate and it also has the glass that you can't open. So simply push this button if I can find it, and that gives you a little bit better access into the back if you need it. And then you use the button down below to open up the liftgate. We have a towing capability or capacity of 9,200 pounds. Backup camera, all the sensors, LED lighting, and then some chrome accents, a part of that Platinum package. Now also on the Escalade, you can open up this glass. So there's a hidden button where you can do that. So very nice to see the competition there, and that is not wasted. In order to open this up though, you do have the hands-free option, or you push on the Cadillac badge itself. Now, surprisingly, this has a towing capacity closer to 7,500 pounds. It might be the suspension differences. We have a softer suspension in the Escalade, just to be a little bit more luxurious, of course, than in the Expedition. So it can tow more from a smaller engine. But then we have the sensors, camera, and the dual exhaust. So kind of identical, even though there's a big price difference. Very, very identical, I will say. Let's work our way now to the cargo space. So I'm just going to use the button underneath. Both of these do have remote start as well, and then you can use the key fobs to open these up. Now, being a 3-row vehicle, there's a little bit of space in the back. You do have some room up underneath, along with the toolkits over on that one side. And then the back seats, you can push on one button to fold down the 3rd row. So they are automatic, which is nice to see. You do have to have that 2nd row in the right position for them to fold flat. But then from there, I can also fold down the 2nd row. It will go all the way flat once you push it. Those are manual to come back up, and then the 3rd row is automatic. So just depending on if you have people, you have extra storage, you have some different configurations. Now on the Escalade, it's pretty much the same. I will say that this seems to be a little bit longer because you do have a little bit more space with that 3rd row up. Not as much underneath, surprisingly. And then you have the same controls for these back seats. So I'm just going to do the one side where they fold much quicker. And then once you have that seat out of the way, you can get that to fold flat. Same thing with the Expedition. 2nd row is manual. 3rd row comes up very, very quick. And so you pretty much have the same similarities, not too many differences with the cargo space. But as we work our way to the back seats now, we have the power side step. Beautiful interior with the Bang & Olufsen, all of the leather, and some of the brushed chrome. Now, in order to work our way to the back, let's pull on this tab, and we can push this seat forwards to gain access into this 3rd row. So at 5'10", I actually have a good amount of space. Now there's captain's chairs up front, so you have room to walk through the middle if you want. We can also recline these seats too for a little bit more comfort. There's storage pockets with a USB and cup holders too, and then some climate adjustments up top. So honestly, at 5'10", I really don't have any complaints with the back of this. This is a true full-size 3-row vehicle, so you'd expect all of that space. Now over on the Cadillac, all of the handles are fixed to the door panel. There's ambient lighting, so you push the electronic button on the back side, and that is how you open it up. So a minor difference in the door handles. We have a beautiful interior. AKG is pretty similar to the Bang & Olufsen sound system, and then the rest of the materials. A little bit different to gain access to the 3rd row in the Escalade. You pull on this once to get the seat to here, pull on it again, and it will pop out of the way. So a little bit different, and honestly, it's about the same at 5'10". A little bit less storage, but we have some drink holders, some USB-Cs, air vents up top. Now these seats do not recline, so that is one difference. These are fixed compared to the Expedition. Now you do have a button here, you can use that to get the seat to where it is, or you can walk through just like over on the Expedition. And then we'll just put the seat back. Both of them are pretty easy, just a little bit different of course. And let's stick with the Escalade here as we work our way to the captain's chairs. I haven't found a way to recline these seats. If you pull on this lever twice, it folds it up. But I don't see anything to recline these captain's chairs, which is very interesting to see. There's nothing there. So I think you have fixed 2nd row seats, which is interesting to see. Storage pockets, there's also cup holders. These are even heated seats too, and then you have some climate adjustments in the middle and some auxiliaries located down below. So it's a really nice place to be. Back over in the Expedition, we have a similar setup. So we can adjust these, but we can recline these seats. We have the bar down below to slide these forwards and backwards. So it's really interesting that I can't get those to recline. But we have some audio adjustments, heated seats, some more auxiliaries, and all of your climate adjustments. So pretty much identical to the Escalade. As we work our way now to these front seats, We have the heated and ventilated seat adjustments on the door panel itself, memory seating adjustments, and everything else. And as we fire this up now, we have the leather steering wheel, we have the cruise, adaptive cruise, heated steering wheel, all of your adjustments for Bluetooth, volume, tuning, scrolling, everything like that. We also have basically 3 different screens. Tiny one, gauge cluster, infotainment. So currently this is the augmented reality, and you can change that by going through some of this information here, where I can pull up the map now, and then also pull up the gauge cluster. And so this is pretty much all that you get for the gauge cluster setup, those 3 different screens, depending on what you'd like to see. You can go into the head-up display and then back to the trip information. So not a whole lot of adjustments in the middle. We have paddle shifters too, really nice design. All of the 4-wheel drive selectors, e-brake, and dimmer switches are on the left side, along with the different driving modes. So just depending on how you are driving for the day. And then for the infotainment system, we have quite a few icons to scroll through. So again, just depending on what you need to get to. You also have a lot more driver information that you would usually see in the gauge cluster. It is right in front of you on this infotainment system here. We have the navigation, music, and back to home. So it's kind of simple for that almost 6-figure price tag. I wish there were a few more adjustments in that infotainment system, but we have the wood trim underneath that, all of the climate adjustments and where you'd like the air to go, auto hold with the engine start stop and lane keeping assist. And this does have the 360 camera system, so we have a lot of angles for both front and rear, and then we also have the 360 view, so that way you can clearly see around, even to where the Expedition is right there, which is a little bit odd to see there. But you have plenty of visibility. You have drive and the low range gear, and then park, and you also have all the adjustments to go through that screen, so you don't have to use it as a touchscreen system. We have a little bit of storage on that passenger side, as well as in the glove box with some more auxiliaries. One glove box, take note of that. And we do have the digital rear view mirror, so that is great. Garage door buttons. You can also fold down the 3rd row, moonroof adjustments, and the power liftgate adjustments too. And a good amount of visibility. So it's very open feeling with the amount of glass that this has to offer. As we move on to the Expedition now, we have a little bit different of a design, memory seating adjustments and everything else, but the heated and ventilated seat adjustments are located within the infotainment system. So that is one difference. But as we fire this up, we have leather on the steering wheel, all of the cruise and adaptive cruise control settings, volume, Bluetooth, tuning, everything like that. But we also have some more configurability in the gauge cluster setup. It's not a whole lot more, but we have a My View, so you can configure what you would like to see on that setting. And then you can go through some of this other general information. So you do have some more configurability through that gauge cluster setting, but again, not a whole lot more. No paddle shifters for the Expedition. You do though get pedal adjustments, so you can bring those closer or farther away, e-brake, spotlights, all of the headlight and fog light adjustments. You can even fold down the headrest in the 3rd row, and then this is where the liftgate release is. No head-up display for this model, but we have a massive infotainment system. I'm not going to go over everything in this video. If you want to check out the separate detailed review, I go over every single aspect to this system. You have a lot more configurability and information that you can go through compared to the Escalade. You have all of your heated and ventilated seats, heated steering wheel, all of the climate adjustments and AC, volume 2. It is a nice system to see. You have a pro trailering system too, so a little bit more focused for trailering with the trailer braking system. A little bit of storage down below with the wireless charging pad. Cup holders as well. We even have the 360-degree view. A little bit different than over on the Escalade. Not so much the 360 view as it is just giving you that surround view. There is the top-down view. You have the trailering system too, so that way you can get some more visibility if you need to, but not that top-down view full 360 like on the Escalade, even though you do have that angle there. This has a locking rear diff, and then the four-wheel drive modes, and a few more than over on the Escalade. So if you're taking either of these off the pavement, the Expedition is going to be a little bit more focused towards some of that, with the downhill assist control, parallel parking, massive glove box or center armrest, but you also get 2 glove boxes with the Expedition, which is nice. You do not get that digital rear view camera, which I am shocked to see, but you do get a sunglass holder up top with some of those sunshade and sunroof adjustments. And then pretty much the same visibility for this. But let's go ahead, start with the Expedition and get this out on the road. As we set off now behind the wheel for the Expedition, I really think this is a great competitor to the Escalade, even though it costs less money. We have almost more technology for the Expedition. We have a little bit more of a utility style 3-row vehicle compared to the Cadillac, which is a little bit more luxurious feeling than the Expedition. However, I will say this drives really, really nice. Check out the full detailed review again to see some more miles behind the wheel of the Expedition. But I don't really have any complaints with this. I grew up with an Expedition for several years, much, much older than this model here. But it's very nice. It gets up to speed very well. There are no paddle shifters for this Expedition. However, there is plus and minus down below. So if you do need to shift, you can use those. They seem pretty responsive, which is good. So if you're towing or you happen to be off the pavement, you can use those as needed to hold the gear that you need. And you also have the different driving modes depending on what you are doing for the day. So I think it's really healthy, even for the smaller twin turbo V6. I think it's very healthy. You don't get that same noise, of course, but it's a nice, pleasant place to be. Let's swap over to the Escalade. And just like that, here is the interior for the Escalade. Now, this is about 10 or so grand more than the Expedition. And for that 10 grand more, I really think what you're getting is a little bit better of a ride quality versus the Expedition. I believe that this has an adaptive suspension. It is a lot more smooth, especially when you drive them back to back. I will say it feels more refined. The Expedition, though, still feels very good. You're not going to be disappointed with either one, but I think that the Escalade goes slightly more to the next level with a different suspension setup to give you that more Cadillac luxury vibe when you are driving this down the road. It seems like it's a little bit more well insulated too, just because it is a Cadillac and it does cost more. Not to say that Expedition is bad though, but let's give this some gas. And you can hear that V8. For what I'm doing in today's comparison, they seem like they both get up with an ample amount of speed to get up and move. So they feel really good, even though they are 2 different style engines. You do have the paddle shifters though for the Escalade, so you can use those as needed. And it feels really good. You would expect that for almost a 6-figure 3-row SUV. And now to end today's video with our head-to-head comparison, Cadillac Escalade and Ford Expedition. Honestly, it really just comes down to which one you prefer, the features and options that you like. Obviously, you can get various trim levels for each model depending on your budget and again, what you are looking to get. Comment down below, let me know, would you rather have the Cadillac Escalade or the Ford Expedition? Both are 3-row full-size SUVs. They have a lot to offer, differences and similarities between the two. But let me know your thoughts. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Give it a huge thumbs up. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.